Okay, Act 3, Scene 1. There's some really juicy stuff in here that tells us how Macbeth views the world, and also some important context stuff that we need to know. Not necessarily annotate closely, but things that we need to understand about the old back then days. So basically we've got a couple of quotes here. Just so you know, green for me represents kingship and tyranny, and pink is cruelty and masculinity. So this whole scene really is a discussion of Macbeth almost with himself and with some murderers about how he views the world and how things should be. So our first point here, he's basically saying that he would rather be a king safely than a king not at all. And he says he's worried about Banquo because he is, as he should be. But importantly, he notes, there is none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked. So the question to you is, should he be more worried about other people, noting that he's just claimed the crown, he's become the king, notably he's killed someone and that person's two sons have fled to safety. Is he naive to think that the only person that he has to fear is Banquo? That's the question. We've got a couple of little things here. The green section basically says that he's unlineal, which means he hasn't his parents weren't kings and his children are unlikely to be kings because of this. And also, he's pretty pissed that Banquo gets that, which is sort of what you want from being a king. You want your kids to be successful and so forth. This is really important, again, not to annotate, but it just talks about how what they referred to back, or what we call their views back then, as the great chain of being. Kings are born to be kings. The people that clean up the shit of the kings, or the excrement, let's say, were born that way and they'll remain that way. Let's say you're a blacksmith, your life will be blacksmithing. And here he's talking about animals, because that's obviously a motif of the play. He talks about, just like dogs, there are different types of man. And then he talks about the different types of dogs and how some are better than others. Also, this also relates to what they either call the divine hierarchy or the great chain of being, which are similar concepts to the great chain of being. But basically, there's a pyramid, king at the top, losers down the bottom, and everyone else in between. So he basically says that, what he would love to have happen is that he needs Banquo to be killed by the murderer. And so he's saying, look, a man in my position can't be doing killing, but I would love for you to do that for me, because you are, after all, murderers, and that is your place in the world.